It's time to answer some more questions that black people have for white people. I already answered a video called 20 questions black people have for white people that BuzzFeed didn't ask. Well, now it's time for me to answer the ones that BuzzFeed actually did ask. So let's get started.
Why do you always make such horrible decisions in horror movies? It's not cool to split up.
Well, I have actually surprisingly never been in a horror movie, but isn't it usually the black characters that are notoriously quick to die in those films? I mean, if white people are making all the bad decisions, then how come it's usually the black guy who dies first? Is it just bad luck?
Why do you freak out when black people are cast to play white fictional characters?
Yeah, I'm sure if Joseph Gordon-Levitt was announced as the new Shaft, you'd be totally cool with it.
What's the big deal if Idris Elba plays James Bond? I would go see it twice.
I really don't care if Idris Elba plays James Bond, but he's hardly younger than the guy he'd be replacing. I mean, Daniel Craig is 48, Idris is 43.
Why is a big butt and big lips considered attractive on a white woman, but they're unattractive on a black woman?
What? No, a big butt and big lips are attractive when they're shapely and pleasant. I mean, look at Beyonce or Nicki Minaj. Guys want to fuck the shit out of them because they've got big butts and big lips, you know, but they look good. What you're really asking, I think, is why isn't your big butt and big lips considered attractive? Well, let's just put you side by side with Beyonce and you fucking tell me. Does your butt look like this Nicki Minaj butt, or does it look like a big shapeless sack of potatoes? I think we both know the answer to that question.
Do y'all really think Miley is the one who created twerking? Really?
Who cares? It's not like twerking is some brilliant fucking invention. You bounced your butt around. It is not the fucking light bulb, okay? I bet that for as long as women have had big butts, some of them have figured out that they can attract the attention of certain menfolk by bouncing that fucker around like a couple of basketballs.
Why am I supposed to teach you how to twerk? I don't know how to twerk.
Good. I don't want to see you twerk. The potatoes don't need mashing.
Why is it that white people always act as though they have discovered a new trend when people of color have been doing it for virtually years?
Who honestly goes around talking about discovering a new trend? I mean, trends don't need to be discovered because by the time they're trends, everyone knows about them. That's what made them trends in the first place. Think before you speak.
Why is it when a black woman wears her hair natural, it's seen as inappropriate, but when a white woman does, it's praised?
Yeah, no one gives a fuck about your hair. No one.
This is the hair that I was born with, so you wearing it as a trend is not cute.
So you were born with it, and that means no one else is allowed to adopt it as a trend. So if I want to dye my hair dark, I shouldn't be allowed to because certain people are born with dark hair? What about when black women straighten their hair? Is that okay? Or should white women be upset that black people are adopting their hairstyle like a trend?
Like, can you appropriate my student loans? Can you take that off my hands?
Well, maybe this is just fucking sour grapes for me, but we tried to put forth Bernie Sanders, a candidate that would have done just that for everyone regardless of race. But in large part thanks to the votes of black America, Hillary Clinton was chosen instead. Nice job.
Why is it that white crime is seen as an isolated incident, but black crime is a representation of my entire community?
The vast majority of people, black and white, have never been involved in violent or property crimes, but you can't just ignore the fact that the black community produces a disproportionate amount of criminality. Year after year, for decades now, black people have committed roughly half of all the murders in the US, despite being only 13% of the population. And it's really almost all black men, so really what you have is 6 or 7% of the population that produces about half of all homicides. And that should be of grave concern to the black community, since they are also disproportionately the victims of these homicides.
When we see a story on TV about a white serial killer, I don't automatically assume that all white people must be serial killers too.
The FBI estimates that there are about 25 to 50 serial killers operating in the US at any given time. So serial killers, despite what TV would have you believe, are an extremely rare breed of criminal and are pretty statistically insignificant.
Why does talking about race make you feel so uncomfortable?
Is it because you think that you'll be perceived as racist?
I'm not uncomfortable talking about race. I mean, if I were, I wouldn't make videos like this. And I would certainly not abstain from it just because I'd be called racist for doing so. I mean, in previous videos answering a different set of black folks, I said I didn't have a problem with gentrification. This led to me being lambasted as a racist by bloggers across the internet, most of whom were white liberals. And that didn't discourage me. I'm still talking about it.
You don't really believe that racism is over because we have a black president, do you?
No, racism is not over, but it's also not one-sided. There are racists of every skin tone. You can say that white racism is a bigger problem because there are more white people in positions of authority, but sweeping under the rug the racism that goes on in the black community is just dishonest.
Why is it so easy for you to notice when there are no white people around, but you hardly ever notice when there are no black people around?
I really don't care who's around me. My general preference is no one.
Why is your goal to be colorblind?
And there's so many different types of people in the world, yet you can't see color?
My goal is to be colorblind because I think that's the only way to end racism, is to stop dividing people by race. As long as black people and white people are monolithic groups painting each other with broad brushes, racism will never die. Racism dies when no one gives a fuck what color anyone else's skin is. It's not a matter of not seeing their skin color, it's a matter of not giving a shit what color they are.
Why do you want to say the N-word so badly?
I say it when it's context appropriate to say it. I refuse to say the N-word because that's fucking childish. Everyone knows that the word I'm referencing is nigger. All I'm doing by saying the N-word is making the person I'm talking to think that word. I say the N-word and their brain goes, oh, nigger. How is that any better?
Why do you always want to touch our hair?
Who told you it was okay to touch people without their permission?
I don't want to touch your fucking hair. As I said before, I don't give a fuck about your hair. The only people who are obsessed with black women's hair are, guess what? Black fucking women. And maybe a few weird hair fetishists out there.
Why do you feel like having one black friend makes you a cultural expert or not a racist?
I don't think it makes me a cultural expert, but I do think it makes me not a racist. Why? Because a racist wouldn't have friends of other races. He would view them as inferior to himself on the basis of their skin and reject their humanity. I don't do that. That's why I'm not racist.
Is your only black friend comfortable with being the reason why you can't be racist?
Well, my black friends would laugh at your overly sensitive crybaby bullshit. So yeah, I'm pretty sure they're fine with me using them as my not racist card. They are, after all, black people who know me personally. If they don't find my thoughts and behaviors to be racist, then who are you to say otherwise when you don't even fucking know me?
By that logic, then I'm not racist. I have a ton of white friends.
Okay, good for you, buddy. Good job. You have white friends. Yay! Woo!
Why do you feel comfortable cursing at your parents?
I could probably count on one hand the number of times I've cursed at my parents. And it never really had positive results for me.
Why do you kiss your dogs on the mouth?
To show affection, I guess. I've never seen my dog eat a turd, though. So maybe that's why I feel comfortable. I'm not saying he never has eaten a turd. I'm just saying I've never seen him do it. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
How come you can't pronounce black names like Kouvanjane, but can say names like Schwarzenegger, Galifianakis, and LaBeouf just fine?
Well, that's because Schwarzenegger, Galifianakis, and LaBeouf are all the last names of famous people. I mean, Kouvanjane, or whatever the fucking name is. No, I've never met anyone named Kouvanjane in my goddamn life. Sorry, I just haven't. I haven't had that fucking experience.
Why do you feel like all lions' lives matter, but black lives don't?
If humanity were truly concerned with the plight of lions, we wouldn't continue to allow their territorial range to shrink into nothing. There were 200,000 lions a century ago. Now there's only 30,000, so clearly people don't really give a fuck about lions.
Why is a lion's life in Africa more important than the lives of black people here in America?
Okay, bullshit. If there were dentists going around hunting black people for sport, I kind of think that people would be upset. So nice false equivalence, but it's bullshit.
What did Simba ever do for you?
I get it. Lion King was an awesome movie, but so was Selma, and so was Malcolm X.
Why are we still on this lion shit? Did you really think it was such a great point that it had to be hammered home to this extent?
Why is it so hard for you to acknowledge your privilege?
Look, if you want me to acknowledge my personal privileges in life, I will do that. But if you want me to state that white people as a group have some sort of special privilege in life just because they're white, then come with me sometime to a trailer park or to the hills of Appalachia where you can see white, toothless drunks living in ramshackle old hovels that look like they're held together by tobacco spit. There's tons of white people all across this country that have no great special privilege in life whatsoever.
How does it feel to not be the spokesperson for your entire race at any given time?
Well, I mean, by asking questions to white people as a monolithic group, you've invited anyone answering those questions to be just that. So I don't see how you can possibly complain.
Must be nice.
It's aight. I'm the Amazing Atheist. Hope you enjoyed me answering these questions. If you did, give this video a big fat fucking thumbs up and contribute to my Patreon. That shit's down below in the description section. Alright guys, push the fuck out! Yeah!